President Biden just released a statement in the last hour. He talks about that this is not some distant tragedy. The ties between Israel and the United States run deep. He says it's personal. He says for so many American families who are feeling the pain of this attack and this moment of heartbreak, the American people stand shoulder to shoulder with Israelis. But, Joe, he says that we know that 11 American citizens were among those dead, and also that likely Americans are being held hostage in Gaza.
Well, that's absolutely right, and that's where we begin with Bloomberg's Nick Wadhams. Nick, it's great to have you with us here at the table. What's happening inside the White House right now as they figure out next steps, knowing, as Anne-Marie mentioned, there may well be Americans in the line of fire as Israel begins its response?
Right. I mean, I think there are a few things happening here. One is obviously, what do you do about these hostages? There are reports from the region that Hamas is saying, to Israel, if you don't give us warning of places within Gaza that you're going to strike, we're going to kill one hostage. So that obviously raises the stakes really significantly. The other is weapons supplies to Israel. U.S. officials are saying, obviously, they're going to project a bipartisan front, give Israel essentially what it needs. So they're going to be sorting through the decision on what to do there. And then the broader questions are already being asked. What was the degree of Iran's involvement? Why was this such a huge intelligence failure? And for those questions, I mean, we are just only at the beginning.
One of the biggest concerns right now is Israel decides to have a massive conscription, the biggest they've ever seen in their history, 300,000. And they're dealing with Gaza right now. But what if there's another Iranian-backed proxy in the region, like Hezbollah or like the Houthis, that then come in and get involved?
Right. I mean, this is the thing that's such a huge question, and why this moment it feels like we're on a little bit of a precipice, because we just don't know which way this is going to go. I mean, I think one of the things that feels certain is you can expect that Israeli forces will go into Gaza on the ground, not just airstrikes. But when Prime Minister Netanyahu talks about, the response has only just begun, I mean, it feels like a ground invasion into Gaza is going to be inevitable. But then the question of, does this get turned into a wider war? What happens with Lebanon? I mean, you're already seeing pictures, people fleeing, traffic jams there as people leave their homes in fear of what could come next. And then the Iran question. I mean, there's a lot of conflicting information about how deeply Iran was involved in this. Would there be some sort of Israeli action against Iran? The U.S. focus for so long has been de-escalation with Iran. They were going to want to potentially keep that up, or did they say no? That is no longer our policy. So big questions still lingering out there.